If you could tell me your name, where was this, when was it, and what happened?
Sure, my name is Del Fuston. It was 94 in Pokesville, Kentucky, back in our woods on our family farm. I was bow hunting and on the back side of the hill there, deep in the woods on an old logging trail in a ground blind. Waiting for the deer to come down to run to the thicket, and I hear the noise. It's October because I'm bow hunting. They're all running down, running all over the place, very sporadically, not normally how they would go to the bedding spot. And a few seconds later, a very large, upright, massive, all black thing, which I would put as a Sasquatch or a Bigfoot, ran in right behind them. Whole interaction didn't take very long. It didn't see me, at least I don't think it saw me. I was completely camoed except for my eyes, and scent covers for the deer hunting, and sat there until I realized it was going to get dark. Then I ran home, fell across some barbed wire I didn't see in the woods, an old rusty piece of barbed wire, broke the quiver off my bow, ran all the way home. Got home, Mom was making dinner. She says, "Are you okay? You're out of breath." I said, "I think I saw Bigfoot." She says, "Yep, they've been seen around here," and goes back to chopping the vegetables. I was like 14 at the time.
You mentioned too that the Bigfoot ran into a tree.
Yes, yes. When it came down, I guess, this is several years ago, obviously, probably yay big. Kind of rotted out. Like, it was in an area where we had done some logging, so there was some trees still left, and then some that were cut down, and it just kind of shoulder checked it almost like a hockey player, and the tree just fell, and it comes down, hits the tree, and then runs past me into the thicket. Wasn't a big tree, wasn't like it picked it up out of the ground, and it wasn't alive, so it was mostly rotten, but still just the whole idea of hitting it and not really being bothered by it.
How close was it to your blind?
I would estimate probably 20 yards. It was really close. I had put my blind fairly close to the thicket so I could have basically a choke point for the deer. So I would say it was within 20 yards.
And what was the lighting?
There was, it's a mix of like hardwoods, like oaks and stuff like that, and then some evergreens. Even though we had logged there, it's still a heavy canopy in early October. And so it was shaded, but there was sun coming through, so it wasn't like dark. It was getting dusk, maybe like 4, 5, 6-ish around there, but it hadn't gotten dark where you couldn't see, but it also wasn't like today where it's not a cloud in the sky.
And what color was it?
Black.
Black.
All black.
Was the hair long or short?
It looked like shaggy, I guess I would say, kind of off of it.
Can you describe the way it ran?
Yeah, it ran like really fast. Didn't really care about noise. I know, like, we hear about, glimpses and them being very stealthy, but this did not care about the noise it was making, and had giant hands, and it kind of, they went in unison instead of like this, like a normal person would run. It was kind of like this, and very just square, kind of upright, stiff almost.
When it ran, did it run straight up and down, or did it lean forward?
Just a little lean, not like a track star run, but like just a little lean, but still it was still kind of upright. So maybe like, I don't know, like that versus, when you're really digging in the run. Right. Just massive and kind of just bulky, but still smooth movement. It was really, really odd.
Could you see any other details about the face or the arms or feet? Any other details you remember?
Just, it was big, no neck, had like a block head, like we had talked before. I know like the conical dome is kind of a thing, but I remember just kind of being almost like a rectangle. Could not see any whites of the eyes or teeth, white, yellow, or whatever. And just it was just dark and possibly black. It was just so dark it was hard to make out even details that close in that lighting.
When it ran, could you hear the footfalls?
Oh yes, oh yes. So I was raised as a hunter, and one of the first things I learned in hunting is you never shoot the first deer. So when all the deer came down, I was waiting for the buck. It was a little early for it to be the rut, but I thought maybe they had gotten started early. So when it came down, it was too heavy to be a buck. It was too heavy to be a deer. It was not quite like a herd, like a stampede of cattle, but definitely a thunderous rumble, if you will. Like heavy steps.
Heavy stuff. When you mentioned the herd of deer, how many deer would you estimate?
8, 9, probably.
Yeah.
It was again. They were going all over the place. It was. They were running so fast and so sporadic. It wasn't time to recognize and draw on one.
Right. How far behind the deer was the Bigfoot?
Seconds.
Right behind you.
5, maybe 10 seconds. Like it all. The whole thing happened very quickly. So, yeah, seconds behind it.
Yeah. And this area, you said your mom said, yeah, there's been sightings in that area. Did you hear since then about any more sightings in that area?
Yeah, so the area, we're in the Cave Run Lake area, a beautiful part of Kentucky, but hearing about other people's stuff, not everyone really wants to talk about, especially back then. I didn't talk about it early on to a lot of people because of the stigma of it, but now that's kind of more pop culture, if you will. It's easier to talk to people without getting the crazy looks. But there's been reports a couple years ago here on Cave Run. There was a report of them snatching a deer in front of some campers. There's been other reports of just really strange stuff in the woods in general. A lot of noises, howling. Some of the old farmers would talk about it being like a bobcat growl into a woman's scream. And then here talking recently to someone else, they were talking about hearing a woman scream. So it's very interesting that people you've never met before, everybody's kind of got that same vibe of a story. There's variants, but it all seems to be in the same box, if you will.
Right, yeah. Which some of these stories happen over generations, and some of the people didn't have internet back then. They were passed down orally, and they match up with stories today where, today it's easy to go on the internet and kind of make up a story based on everything you read on the internet. But way back then, and I'm talking stories across the country that people would not know of the same behavior, the same physical descriptions way back then, and they match up. The tree knocking happens everywhere.
Right.
Like we pretty much know they tree knock. So that's something that must be hereditary. They learn that to communicate, things of that nature.
I thought it was interesting. I believe it was actually one of the small town monster things I was watching. I just saw it was in Kentucky, and the story was similar about the Bigfoot knocking over a tree. Maybe that was in Anderson also. A lot of stuff comes out of Anderson. But it does seem to be, I don't know, almost tribal. I mean, we're in the Daniel Boone National Forest right now, right? And it's a huge expanse of land, and there's so much beyond the trails that you can get into. And there's the story of Daniel Boone encountering one that tried to kill his son, and allegedly Daniel Boone told that story all the way up till the time he died. So if you're getting it from the frontiersmen and Native American, even beyond that, whether it's Pacific Northwest or down in the swamps of Florida, there definitely seems to be a trend. And it was kind of crazy because it's Kentucky. You wouldn't think that, and then all of a sudden you see something you can't explain, and here we are.
Yeah, it's exciting. Knocking the tree over, Again, we believe they push trees over. We think, or I think, to intimidate people, or But in your case, it ran the tree over. I wonder why it wouldn't run around the tree. Why would it hit the tree and risk injury, or slow it down, or it just doesn't care? It knows the quickest path is through this tree. It's kind of a mystery why it hit that tree.
The only thing I can think of is it was so hyper focused on dinner that it just didn't want anything else. I got a Great Dane puppy. He's massive and he's clumsy and he runs into our walls. He knows the wall's there. It's been there the whole time, his whole life, but he still runs into it. So, and that's without even being, if I just say the word treat and he runs to it, right? Yeah. So I can imagine if you're starving and you're chasing your dinner, right? Maybe, necessity, you're not really worried about the brush and the trees and stuff that you're hitting.
Yeah.
It's not like he hit it square on,
he brushed it, and plus, I'm assuming they know it. He knows it's dead. He can tell the difference between a dead tree and a live tree. If it was a live tree, he might have been more cautious. Where it's a dead tree, it's kind of like brush or bushes. He knows it's safe. It's not going to hurt him. I've done it before. We don't know why he would do that, but I don't know.
I have no idea. It was. I have a lot of experiences in life in general, and this is hands down the most terrifying thing that has ever happened to me.
So, is there a day that goes by that you don't think about it?
Not really, to be honest with you. My daughter, she's kind of into the shows and stuff with me. We watch it together, and she likes the story of it. She hasn't had an experience like that or whatever. And I'm like, "You're going to go in the woods and hunt it with me?" And she goes, "No, Daddy, I'm going to stay home." But when you have something almost religious experience, right? Something you cannot explain that just happens to you. It's so profound. It does greatly change your perspective on life, the what ifs. And it's kind of just really changed my view on the world. You look at the constant new species that are being found, and they just found in Mammoth Cave the giant shark fossils. I don't know if you know about that yet or not. And it's just really crazy to see all the things that are starting to come out. And then like the okapi, the half horse zebra thing. They didn't know about that until 1960. And it's been around for thousands of years. So it's kind of interesting that there still are things out there that we don't know yet. Yeah. And things that probably are still evolving. So is it an alien? Is it a hominoid? Is it, a religious being? Is it somehow tied to Nephilim? There's so many ways you could look at it. All I know is I saw a giant creature I cannot explain with any other word but Bigfoot.
Yeah. Have you ever been back to that location?
Yes, Ed. That's the farm I grew up on. So I was there for many, many years after that, and that was a good hunting spot. So I would go there all the time. I never go into the woods anywhere, whether I've been in the Rocky Mountains, whether I've been down south, Tennessee, Florida, my home farm. I have never went into the woods after that without a weapon. And not because I think I'm going to shoot it and it's going to stop it, but maybe bang, loud noise, get away from me. Right. Just like an overall thing. I used to always carry a knife, or maybe a machete for snakes or something like that, but I don't go into the woods unarmed anymore.
When that happened, how soon did you go back to look where it hit the tree?
I believe I went back the next day. I do have a very curious part of me that always wants to know why. And those woods, 8 years old, I was hunting squirrels by myself back there, and it was a different time back then, but it's my family farm. I know every trail, every tree, every, I know that all the paths, and it's just, something that was ingrained in me. So it's not like I was going to go, oh, I'm not going back in those woods anymore. It was, well, those are my woods. Let me go see what that was.
Right.
But I was very, very cautious and very scared when I did it, to be quite honest. But I did go back, and I do believe it was the next day.
Did you see any tracks, or did you see the tree it hit?
I saw the tree. I didn't see any tracks. You know, being, like I said, I think I was 14. I hadn't watched enough shows to think to look for hair or anything like that. You know, the deer had went through there, so if there was any hair, it'd probably been cross-contaminated anyway. But I didn't see the tracks. You could definitely see the disturbance. But that comes from, you know, years of just being in the woods and noticing when the leaves are turned the wrong way and that kind of stuff. All that hillbilly knowledge you get from growing up in Kentucky.
Yeah. Well, listen, thank you so very much. We appreciate it. And good luck tonight.
Thank you.
When you go back there. I know you're going back there tonight, so if anything comes up, let me know.
Absolutely. We'll be recording. Thank you, sir.
All right, thanks. Awesome.